Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to your third instalment of our Signed and Sealed mini-series where we're going to look at all the signings that Huddersfield Town do in the January transfer window. Today, Town have made their third signing of the window by signing Dutch defender Radinio Balker from FC Groningen and on a deal until the end of summer 2027. So, what do we know about Town's new signing? Well, he's played over 100 games, he's 6'3", he looks pretty comfortable on the ball and has some pace too from the videos the club's shared. But we don't know much, do we? But Darren Moore did say in his statement with the signing, quote, he's got some fantastic attributes for a modern day defender. He's very quick and athletic. He can carry and progress the ball up the pitch. And importantly, he seems to love the defensive side of the game too. He's also a potent threat at attacking set pieces. And you can never have too many of those. So to get a little bit more understanding about Town's new defender, we spoke to Thijs Faber from FC Groningen podcast, Kon Veel Minder de podcast. And here's what he had to say on Radinio Balker.
Radinio Balker joined FC Groningen in 2021 as a free transfer from Almere. At that moment, he was already widely considered a hot prospect in the Keukenkampioen-divisie. That's the level beneath the Eredivisie. During one of his first training sessions for FC Groningen, he torn his ACL. Before that, he also had a long injury during his time at Almere. The injury to his ACL eventually would keep him out of the first team for the whole 21-22 season. In the first half of the 22-23 season, he came back from the injury. He was very good, actually. Some people even made comparisons with him to Virgil van Dijk, of course, one of the best defenders ever to play for FC Groningen. That was a bit silly comparison, but overall his strength, calmness and aerial dominance were very important for a very struggling FC Groningen side at that moment. Towards the winter of that season, his performances started to drop, just like the performance of the rest of FC Groningen at that point. By the way, in the beginning of 2023, FC Groningen was in the worst state it had been for over 20 years, and Radinio Balker was not able to pull his team out of that. He even joined the misery, so to say, statistically seen. FC Groningen had by far the worst defense in the league. A lot of goals conceded, they came from his mistakes, so he contributed to that negatively as well. Overall, I think Radinio Balker is very fast for his length. Actually, he has been catching up with pretty strong attackers over the games that we've seen him play. He's quite strong. He has the physical conditions, I think, to succeed in English football. Of course, being used to Dutch football, maybe compared to English centre-backs, he's probably a bit more comfortable on the ball than average in the Championship, but it's not a big strength of him. His weakness, I think, is defending crosses from the wings. He has been caught in a mistake from that aspect a couple of times, and also he always seems a bit shaky on set pieces. I have no statistical proof for that, but that's just a general feeling. In terms of his potential, it's difficult to say how far he can go. He is 25 years old, but due to injuries, he has not played a lot of games yet, especially not on the highest level. In some games, even on the highest level, he has shown a level that was beyond the level that FC Groningen were playing on. That's like the mid-table Eredivisie level. We're not that anymore, but we're used to. But as said, as the performances of FC Groningen dropped, his performances dropped as well, and he contributed negatively to the poor results from FC Groningen last season in the Eredivisie, but also during the slow start in the Keukenkampioen-divisie this year. He was solid, but not one of the best players, and the opposition in the Eredivisie is not in any way comparable to the opposition in the Championship. I believe it's the good teams are okay, but at the bottom of the table, teams are from a very poor quality. In general, to speak for Groningen fans, always a bit difficult. I can only speak for myself. I think people feel quite indifferent about his departure. I think the transfer fee of 1.3 million euros seems on the high side. Looking at the state of our club at the moment, we need money for investments in our team, and he hasn't got a long to go on his contract. Also, we have a lot of depth in his position at the moment, even some Eredivisie quality players. So I think, he seems a good lad. He's very professional, and he came back from a serious injury. But I think it's not like it's the end of the world that he will leave. I'm just very curious how we will do in the championship. So I hope he will help you guys and contribute to your season as well.
And I'm now joined by Mr. Tom Bradshaw on another signed and sealed mini-pod. Tom, been a while since we've done one of these, but Town have made another signing. They've brought in Dutch defender Radinio Balker from FC Groningen on a deal until the summer of 2027. How are you feeling about it? We're back again talking about another transfer.
Yeah, obviously I don't know much about him. I'm not a footy man nerd or anything like that, so he's never been in like one of my teams or anything. So, but I think the one positive is, and we said this on the last one, the club are sticking to potential promises that have gone out over the last few months about signing players, and yeah, they're rolling in Brady, and it's what we've needed. It's bodies, and by the looks of it, he looked quite an interesting player.
He does, yeah. And obviously I know defender, because of, Yuta and Nakayama going out for the Asian Cup, and, Ruffles is injured. We've had a few injuries in those areas. It has been a position that we needed, but I suppose given we've been talking about the 1-1 draw with Plymouth and the lack of firepower, although we may be announcing doing another one of these fairly soon. In regards to that, I suppose it's hard, although it's a good sign, and it's kind of, if you were hoping to push one further along, it might be the firepower. But is that being a bit harsh on this? Because this on the surface looks like it's a interesting, potentially good deal.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think as well, something that we spoke about, I think it was on the podcast with Gab Sutton. I can't remember which terrible game that was previewing. But we kind of mentioned that we've got quite an aging backline, haven't we? And signing someone who's 25, probably at their peak, that they're going to get to that kind of age where things really start pushing on, especially as a defender. It is quite an exciting signing. And from the very limited clips that I've seen, it does look like there's a pretty decent player in there. But yeah, we need it now as well. So I think this is one that's gonna help us at the moment in time we're in, but also hopefully in the next few years we'll see quite a solid centre back come through who can partner up with Hellick for years to come, hopefully.
Here's hoping. And I mean, I know obviously we've only seen the clips that everyone else has seen with roasted and chickens kind of scouting report. Your dog is in pure excitement about this. But what's kind of stood out for you, Tom? I know, again, it's like the classic I always bear in mind is they made Adama Diakhaby look good on the highlights reel. But there's some things that look quite impressive that Town have maybe been suffering in the back line.
Yeah, I think one, and I shared this with you, didn't I? The one video that we found, it was on the Facebook page of Groningen. Is that how you say it? FC Groningen. Yeah. And the title was something in Dutch, but then "Calm as You Like," and it was about a 4-minute video from, I think he must have got a man of the match performance, and there was some very questionable, worrying moments where maybe he was not messing around with it, but he just looked so relaxed, even when under pressure by one or two strikers. It looked like he held the ball up really well. He'd take it wide, play it down the line, but then sometimes he'd be coming back, switch the ball over the other side. He looks like he's got a very good pass on him. He's got pace, which is very good for a centre-back. any level really, especially when you come up against certain players, and the other clips that we've seen. We just had a little viewing together, Brady, didn't we? Some good headers in there as well. He seems to pop up at the odd corner and get a goal. So I think it's one of those that look, Uta's come over from Holland as well, and I would say he's been a pretty good squad player. I wouldn't say he's a funny one. I think that injury really pushed him back a bit. So hopefully we'll see maybe him kick on a bit. But yeah, I think it's a very sensible market to shop in as a Championship club, the Dutch leagues. So yeah, I am reasonably excited about it, I think.
Yeah, and I suppose in the statement of the signing, like Darren Moore said, he's got fantastic attributes for a modern day defender. I think from the clips we've seen and from that scouting report, I assume most people listening to us subscribe to Stephen Chicken's Substack. If you're not, you should do. I think that playing out from the back, I'm thinking I was at that Plymouth game, so it's sticking fairly recently. But what I seem to remember was, when we looked at people stepping out from defence, yes, Brody Spencer might do that with a few more games. It was his first Championship start, feel a bit more confident. It was Tom Lees doing it. Tom Lees was stepping out from defence and going up 10 yards. And although I think Tom Lees is, a good defender, I don't think that's really his game. Whereas from this clips, Balker seems to be quite comfortable doing that. Like you say, you talk about that pace. He seems to skip past people fairly easy, quite comfortable on the ball, which, as good as Hellick and Pearson and Lees are defending, I don't think you'd say any of those defenders are, in terms of strength, I wouldn't say they're one of their strengths is being super comfortable on the ball. So I think it's maybe, given the kind of options up front or the lack of options up front in that game on Saturday, I don't think it should take away from this deal because, like you say, it's promising. I think it's a nice change in the recruitment. Like you say, we've got players who are kind of either heading in their prime or being in, or in their prime or rumoured to be. So I think it's quite a nice approach to recruitment. Whereas, let's be honest, Tom, previously we've had players in January who we've got in who are kind of mid-30s, kind of last throw the dice of the Championship.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I did like him kind of finishing his career here and stuff, and I thought he was integral to that promotion season. But yeah, Mark Hudson was a prime example. I think we've done a lot of January signings like Mark Hudson, where it's been the last couple of days and the classic "don't go to bed yet" kind of line comes out on Twitter, and it's kind of, you're a bit underwhelmed because it's a 32-year-old defender or whatever, Grant Holt or someone popping up, and it's quite refreshing. It's very, I mean, this kind of signing for me is very reminiscent of the summer Wagner took over. It's that kind of seems sensible but exciting at the same time. I mean, there's a bit of risk there because, I mean, maybe not for us because they could have been scouting him for ages, Brady, but from a fan point of view, the risk is don't really know much about him, but from it's still a bit exciting, isn't it? You bring in any foreign player, really, it's always quite exciting.
I suppose the question I'd ask you, Tom, is, he's been Balker's been playing his trade in the Dutch second division. I suppose if the cynical fans will be like, what is the quality of that division? Obviously, he did play in the Eredivisie last season. Do you have any concerns about that in terms of transitioning over to the Championship? Do you think there'll be a bit of a learning curve, or are you not too concerned about that?
I think the only concern for me is he might just have to get a little bit more conservative with some of his decision making. I think the level that he's potentially at now, from those clips that we've seen, I think he's way ahead of the pace of some of the other players there, and he can afford to do some of those kind of flicks and tricks on the edge of his box and trying to take it on players. But I think at this level, it might be a bit more, you've got to be a bit more sensible at points in games and be a bit more conservative with that kind of decision making when he makes those run forwards, when he's trying to take someone on from the back. But I think football is football at any level. But when that clip that we've watched, Brady, where it's kind of the clip that we just watched, where he's just going past players with ease, is very similar to the clips that I saw of Matos when he's been playing in under 21 football, and I think that's what makes me more positive about this signing than others. I think the fact that he's breezing past players and putting a pass off, I don't think, like, you know what I mean? That's what makes me excited. I think he should be okay at this level, definitely.
Oh, good to hear. I suppose we'll do what we normally do and wrap up these pods by saying what would you rank this signing out of 10 in terms of excitement?
8 out of 10 for me.
Oh,
I think.
8. Oh,
I think because he's because of his age, and we had a quick watch of the intro video as well, and he seems like a nice bloke and potential character for the future as well. Hopefully, get involved with the fans as well. Bring back a bit of that team and fan spirit. I mean, what about you, Brady? What's your rating for this one?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, like we said, let's be honest. We're not experts in the Dutch second tier. I do have some concerns about the transition, and we heard earlier from the Groningen fan. He has some concerns and pointed out some things, but I mean, classic case, you're a defender, your mistakes get highlighted more. So I think it's, to be honest, I think if this was maybe in the summer, I think it would be a lot higher. But I'm still quite high. I'm going to go 7. I think it's a good deal. We've talked about how aging the squad is really in general. There's not enough players for me, and we've talked about this quite a lot, Tom, that fit that either too experienced or like they're just academy lads. So like you say, they're 25. Like I think Bojan is like 24. Matos is a little bit on the younger side, but some of the players we're linked with, I think it's like, they've got. More importantly, they've played at least like over 60 league games. Most accounts, and I think that's really important for that experience too. So I think it's one to be excited for. I imagine, like you talk about that pace, I think that's going to catch people out, which is a good thing because. Let's be honest, our defence is quite slow. That's been a criticism all season. So, that's my long-winded way of saying I'm going to go for a 7.
Nice one, Brady.
Cool. Right. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks to everyone who listened to this mini-pod. If you did like it, why don't you let us know in the comments? And if you don't like it or you want any constructive feedback, let us know too, because we won't do them if you don't like them. Fair enough. Right. We'll leave you for now to half an hour and up the town.
So town player, bring the car back to Huddersfield.